Welcome back to the channel, guys. Kerrod here in the studio at Untitled Resort, and this video is all about compression. What is compression and what we need to do to be able to compress that golf ball, get that ball fizzing off the face with a lot more distance and power. Let's get into it. Now, one of the most common phrases thrown around in golfing circles is compression. And it's one of those pieces of the golf swing that a lot of recreational golfers are trying to achieve, that the professional golfer does with ease. But these recreational golfers are not quite sure how to do it, and a lot of them work towards achieving this in an ineffective manner. So in this video, once again, I'm going to show you how to do it in the correct manner and really break down exactly what you need to do to get some more compression to your golf shot. So first of all, what is compression? Well, compression would be when the ball's on the ground, it would mean that the golf club is descending, squeezes the ball between the club face and the turf, the ball shoots off. The low point or the bottom of the golf swing would be down in front of the golf ball, which you'd see with all professional golfers, and the ball would come off with some speed. A lack of compression is usually due to the fact that the bottom of the golf swing would be behind. So this would look like the majority of recreational golfers, where the golf club would descend, it would have a bottom too far behind, they would either hit the ground too much, or they would miss the ground, it would slightly rise and you'd hit the equator of the ball. Both of those instances there are not going to get you that compressed feeling, sensation and sound off the golf club like you see the pros do. So when we're working towards achieving compression, there's a certain few ways that we can do it, and a couple of ways that I see a lot of players do which aren't going to really work out as well as they would like. So if we need to get a descending blow on the golf ball, one of the big errors that I see recreational golfers make is they place the ball too far back in their stance. Now, a lot of the time what happens is your body reacts to certain positions, especially ball position, for example. Like if my ball is too far back in my stance here, I make a backswing, all things being equal, generally from this position, what we're going to see is players shift too far back and behind and start scooping at the ball as the club comes in. That's not going to lead to the compressed strike. And if they do indeed hit enough down on the golf ball, it's a very steep, sharp divot. Usually the face is open and it's not going to really result in a desirable ball flight. So having an understanding of, number one, what we need to do to get this compression, and then a little drill and exercise is going to go a long way for you achieving this if this is something that you're looking at. So down on the ground, I've got this black stick here, and this is really just going to highlight my ball position. So from the address position, if I was looking to get good quality compression, I want to have this ball about one club head inside my lead foot. Or if I was in the address position, I'm going to have this line extending from my left ear directly down on top of the golf ball. From here, as I set up to the golf ball, I would want to see that my upper body and my lower body would be relatively on top of that line. So let's say that this is a stock setup for a mid to short iron. In this case, I've got a 7-iron in my hands. Now, a compressed golf strike with the professional would look like this. They would make their backswing, and in the downswing, in the transition, the movement forward would be that the lower body would shift significantly towards the target, and the upper body would stay relatively on top of that line that was drawn from my left ear at address. So it would look like this. I would keep a steady head to the top, my lower body would shift towards the target, my left ear would stay in place, the club would come down in front of my body, and then as I'm coming into the ball, my body starts to extend and jump off, and my handle would lean forward of the club head. And that right there is how you get the compression. The compression comes from the shaft angle, or when the handle is leaning forward of the head without too much of a steep descending angle of attack. So a steep descending angle of attack would have been when I was talking about if we have the ball too far back, effectively you can kind of force this angle, but your delivery is just way too steep and you're just going to chop into the ground. So it's not going to be the most effective way to do so. So once again, from the address position, club head, distance inside the lead foot, steady head to the top. As our lower body moves forward, our head stays relatively centered over the golf ball. A great checkpoint for this position would be that by this stage, or where the hands are sort of around the belt height, we would want to have our upper body and lower body on top of each other. From here, As our lower body then continues to move forward and rotate, our head stays very still, and then at this stage here, the handle gets in front of the club head. That would result in a compressed strike. So now that you've got the understanding of what a compressed strike looks like, we need to be able to train that if you are someone who feels like they're not getting the most out of their golf shots. So number one thing to do is set up, put this stick in line with where the ball is located, and have it about one club head inside the lead foot. Now what we're going to do to start off with is we're going to swing to the top and stop. And what I want you to feel from this position, and it would be really helpful if you had a mirror that you were looking in, or you had another iPad that was sort of filming on reverse so you could see what your body's doing. I want you to feel that in the downswing, your head is staying stable as your lower body shifts forward. And by the time that your hands get about as high as your belt, I want to see that your upper and lower body is on top of the golf ball like this. So you can just let the golf club dangle from this position. By this stage here, you should feel a significant amount of pressure onto the lead foot. You can see that my lower body has really shifted forward as my upper body has made a slight movement towards the target as well. This really gets me into this stacked position on top of the golf ball. Now, for a lot of you, this is going to feel quite odd because I'm sure you've heard the term of stay behind it or something similar. Now, with the driver, yes, that's true, but we're trying to hit up on the golf ball. But with an iron where we need a downward strike and we're looking for that compression, we actually need a recentering and a movement back towards the target of both the upper body and the lower body to position you in such a way where you've applied enough force into the ground, then the handle is going to have enough room to come underneath, lean forward, and compress the golf ball from that position. So that's the way the body moves. Now, the last key component here is how the arms work. From the top of the swing, if I was to start down, my lower body shifts forward, my upper body moves on top of the ball, I need to feel that my arms begin to straighten more in front of my body. So you can see that they're moving off my chest to a point, and we're going to use this as a checkpoint, where my hands are in front of my right leg. And then as I continue to turn through the ball, you can see that they are in front. Now, if you're a player who tends to cast and scoop, by this downswing position movement, you would generally see yourself here. So even if I've got a good body position, my upper body and lower body's on top, you can see that my arms are left behind. There's a big gap between my trail arm and my body. That's just going to lead to a lot of scooping, so you're not going to get compression from that. So there is a shift of the body going forward, and there is also an unloading of the arms to get them back in front of the body. This is a key component to be able to get that shaft lean that we're looking for. So the drill that I want you to do is simply just practice in front of this mirror. Draw a line through the center of your body. We want to get the ball position one club head inside the lead foot. You're going to swing to the top with your steady head. You're going to shift your lower body forward as your upper body stays on top. And you can see that my arms are in front. And I simply just want you to rehearse and practice this feeling as much as you can, just pumping up and down, going forward over and over again until you get into a spot where you feel really engaged with the ground and your arms are more in front. And then from there, slowly work towards the golf ball and get a sensation of your lower body being slightly forward, your upper body slightly back, and the handle being slightly forward as well. So then going and hitting some shots, just small little shots, getting set up, getting a feeling of swinging to the top, lower body presses forward, upper body stays on top, arms in front, slow little pumps, swing through, and you'll start to feel a nice little pop of that ball off the club face. Really, the strike for the first few doesn't matter so much. It's about training your body in a slow movement pattern to get used to being in a different position, especially if you're someone who's been in a wildly different location. By the time that your clubs hit the ball, either you're leaning too far back, or in fact that you've just been scooping a lot with your arms. So as a recap, let's put the ball one club head inside the lead foot, jump in front of a mirror, get used to feeling what compression is by swinging to the top, keep your head steady, get your lower body working towards the target as your arms straighten down in front of your body, swing through and clip a couple down the range. Build on from that, do about 10 reps of that, then hit a full shot, see if you can feel any difference. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video, all about compression, all about what you should feel and what it should look like as the golf club's coming into the moment of impact. If you're struggling with getting enough power off that club face, it's not feeling quite right, definitely try this exercise out and I'm sure it will help massively. Please go down below, click subscribe, click that little bell so you get notified of all upcoming videos. But until next time, I'm Kerrod. Thanks for watching.